Hi, I'm ActPeb, and today I am going to be talking about thrifting slash how I thrift, how I get such good dolls. A while back, like early starting collecting, I would do like hauls all the time and showing all of the stuff that I got. And I remember somebody had asked like where do I go to thrift? Like how do I get all the stuff that I got? And I'm going to tell you because nowadays I don't go thrifting as much, so I don't get as many like insane hauls that I used to get. So I've really like understood how I did it, and I'm going to tell you how, because looking at my collection, a huge majority of the dolls that I own are actually thrifted, and a lot of like really good dolls that I have are dolls that I was just able to thrift over time. A lot of them are not dolls that I'm either actively searching for on eBay or actively buying in stores, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go over that and talk about where I thrift, how I do it, like that kind of vibe. I want to preference that in all of the haul videos that I do, I always try to make like a statement of like, I did not get all these dolls in one sitting, because when I would do it, I would do like a month of thrifting, and then I'd post it, and sometimes they would be like one after the other because I wouldn't post one for like a little bit, if that makes sense. But other than like recently I just did a whole video, and that all was in like, that was actually, I don't know what I put in that video. Maybe it was all in one day. Anyways, it was a lot of stuff, and that was a great like thing that I was able to get. Like I was very grateful for that, but like it was a lot of money and it was in one sitting. I'm never usually that lucky, but let me talk about it, okay? Number one, I think the biggest thing is knowing the thrift stores that are in my area, if that makes sense. So I have looked up every single thrift store that could possibly be around where I live, and then I go to them, and then I kind of figure out what is a thrift store, what's more of like an antique place, and I try to like figure out what might be best for my collecting. And then the places that have good dolls, I go back to a lot. And then the places that don't have good dolls, I'll go back to sometimes. I think that's like the biggest thing, is like I have thrift stores that always have dolls, and I'll try to go to them as often as I can whenever I thrift, because I usually know that they'll have some dolls. Whether or not they're dolls that I'll pick up is up for, you know, future me to decide when I go there. But I've also found that the places that don't always have good stuff, or we have a really expensive place in my area that like sucks, sometimes it does have dolls. I actually got a Winx doll there in like her outfit. She was a budget one, but she was one that I wanted, and I knew who she was, so I picked her up. I also think something to note is to be knowledgeable in what you're collecting slash knowledgeable in other stuff. So I've thrifted dolls that I knew who they were, and then eventually I thrifted their outfits. That is a hard one to say because sometimes I'm like, it is just cheaper to buy the doll brand new in box than to try to find an outfit for them, because sometimes like it takes forever. But crazy enough, I believe my Erica doll, I got her dress first, and then eventually I thrifted the doll. And I was very excited about that one. And I might have a second Erica doll. Is that true? I don't remember. Same for, I thrifted Annalise. I still don't have an Annalise dress. One day, maybe I'll get it, but I'm waiting on that. I have some of the Barbie, Island Princess dolls. I feel like I've thrifted her 3 times now, and one of the times that I thrifted her, she was in her outfit. I still don't have the wings or the feathers that she's supposed to have, but one day my hope is that I get her. But I think just being knowledgeable, because I knew who she was when I picked her up, and that's why I got her. And then I was able to eventually, luckily the time that I got her outfit, it was with the doll. But I have in the past thrifted a doll and then thrifted an outfit. It rarely happens, but like it's happened enough to where like I will pick up a doll if I recognize who it is and like I want this doll, even if it doesn't have an outfit. And then also thrifting outfits, I always, like, anytime I recognize an outfit, I'll probably get it. If it's on a doll, buy the doll that it's wearing. simply just for the outfit, because I know one day I could possibly get the doll, / I display a lot of my Barbie movie dolls in other dolls' outfits. Anyways, like I said, going to thrift stores that don't always have dolls. I have gotten some great hauls. There is one thrift store that is in my area that I feel like it's a hit or miss. Sometimes it'll have stuff. It'll have a lot of the very basic princess dolls, that kind of thing. And sometimes it won't have good stuff. But then I also spent $36 there on Monster High dolls that were an insanely good price, pretty much complete. So, yeah. I also, at that same place, I ended up getting Christy from the Babysitter Club, the bigger doll, and I was so happy. The only one that I have, and one day I will get more of them. But that is how, like, I thrift. Like, I know the stores. Going to antique malls as well, and then finding booths that have them, and then going actively back to those booths. We don't have a lot in my area, but any of the ones that they do have, I will go there. I also think a pretty important thing when thrifting is knowing your area, knowing where you live and what people's thoughts are. So where I live, all of the like thrift stores that we have near us, other than Goodwill vans, because we don't really have Savers or like other stuff like that, they're all like religious places. So knowing people's views and thoughts on where they want to donate to is also pretty important, I guess. All the ones in our area are all very religious. People are always usually donating to them. There is a homeless one that I always like, I feel like people are like, oh, we should donate there, but they're so expensive. And I know that people hate that they're so expensive. So I know that people don't donate to them as often. That is the place that I got the wing stall at. So I do every once in a while go in, but it's so expensive. I don't want to go in. I don't want to find a doll that I want because I don't want to pay $5 for a nude doll. Yes, I did pay $5 for the wing stall. That's the budget line that I'm sure I could get somewhere else slightly cheaper. But I wanted her, so I got her. But $5 for nude dolls is insane. And that, yeah, people hate that place. But I will go in there like every once in a while, like very rarely, but I do go in there. And sometimes I do find stuff. Sometimes I don't. And I think that's the biggest thing is like oftentimes when like early collecting, I'd be like, they don't have anything. So I wouldn't go in there, and then I'd go in there and I'd find something. You know what I mean? Also, I used to like actively go to Goodwill bins all the time, which is how I would get a lot of hauls because it would be really cheap and I'd find a bunch of random stuff there. I really like to reroute dolls hair with yarn, so I would go there and get a bunch of new dolls, and sometimes I'd find, this is where I would find nude Barbie movie dolls or nude Monster High dolls or Monster High dolls complete or pretty complete. I got a Spectra and all she was missing was a hand. That's insane. Knowing the days to go if you go to Goodwill bins, it can be so overwhelming because people are like rummaging through and like bumping into you and kind of scary. Knowing days that are easier or less people, that weekends, never go on a weekend, never go on Friday. I feel like I always used to go Wednesday, and I feel like maybe Monday might be busy. I feel like people either have off Monday and Thursday and Friday, so maybe Tuesday and Wednesday were the days that I would like to go. But knowing the days that thrift stores restock is also nice. I have a thrift store where they actually put out like anytime they get stuff in, they just put it out. But knowing that, and then also driving further than where you're from, that I rarely do. But every once in a while, I'll go further than what I do. And that is where I got my big haul recently of all Monster High, Never After High dolls that I spent $200 on because I really wanted them. So it's further away. It's my favorite place. Anytime I can like convince somebody to go with me, I'll go because I love that place so much. And sometimes they don't, sometimes that place, it's specifically a toy store, so that's something that is the only like place near where I live that is specifically a toy store. And sometimes they don't have the like great things. Sometimes they only have a little bit. Like my last birthday I went, so this birthday I went, but like I didn't go on my birthday, I went after my birthday. Monster High, Ever After High, like best thing ever. My birthday before I went, and they didn't really have too much. not like stuff that I super needed in my life, but other times I've gotten amazing things, and like it's just so fun to be in there. So knowing places outside of where I live is also really helpful, okay? And actively going back. I think that's like my best advice, is actively going back to those places if you want to get good hauls. The other things that I would say is, like, obviously there's things other than like thrift stores and antique malls. Like, I guess it's kind of a thrift store, like things like Once Upon a Child and Kid to Kid. Those are places where you can donate, or you would sell your toys, so they go through and pick out what they'd want. It's usually closed, but there's toys in the back section, and I always go to Once Upon a Child. I like that better. Also, the two Kid to Kids near me are quite new, so I think they're just like slowly growing, slowly getting used to, or whatever. But I like Once Upon a Child best. I can get some really good stuff. I've recently been getting good deals. People are finally getting rid of their OMGs and Rainbow High dolls, and I love that. Thank you so much. Anyways, the other thing that I would say outside of like going to thrift stores would be garage sales, looking on Facebook Market page for garage sales or other like toys and stuff or items. I just recently went on Facebook Market page and got 3 Coke dolls for $30. I like Coke Barbies. I think they're nice. My dad collected Coke, so I was like, yes, I want these. And they were like giant dolls. They look very nice. Not giant, but like big box dolls, not like a slim. And I got them for like $10 each. So I was like, thank you so much. So going on Facebook Market page, looking for items for cheap is also how I do hauls. Sometimes I'll find, like, one time I found somebody selling like a big giant bag for like 20 bucks and there was like $40 in it. And I was like, this is the best thing ever. And they had like good dolls in it. There was Novi Star. There was, I can't actually think. I know when I purchased it, I was like, this would be perfect to reboot some of the dolls, but they actually had some in there that were really good. I feel like there was a Winx doll in there, but I could be making that up. I know I was very excited about the Novi Star, and that is literally the only one that I can think of that was in there. Oh, there were Lottie Da dolls in there. That's how I got the most of the ones that I own. There's a lot of stuff in there. So looking on Facebook Market page, but also looking at garage sales, going to garage sales, all of that, that's always really nice. People are trying to get rid of everything. They're selling everything, and usually garage sales are cheaper. In my area, I feel like lately people have been like not doing cheap garage sales, but that's okay. Last year I really didn't go to many, but the year before I was like obsessively going to garage sales. The thing is, people don't really sell toys, which is really annoying because I don't want to go. So that's why I always look on Facebook Market page, because people usually post their garage sale and you can see the toys and like zoom in to see if they have dolls, okay? And then the last thing that I can really think of, if we're just sticking to like thrifting and not like go on to like eBay and find good prices of dolls, you know what I mean, would be estate sales. It's a hit or miss. Again, estate sales usually post pretty decent pictures of their dolls and of their like items that they have, if there's dolls there, and then going when they first open, because otherwise you're not gonna get it. Somebody might take it. I've gotten some pretty good things. I one time, because estate sales aren't always for people who have passed away. I recently got, I think, like a few, which they were expensive. Not recently, like a year ago. Got like 1 or 2 Ever After High dolls from an estate sale. I think it was Monster High. I don't remember who I got though. I'm sorry. Because it was a family moving, so they paid the estate sale place to take their stuff because they were moving, and they didn't want to pack up everything, you know what I mean? So that's always also a thought. And again, they post photos, so you can like scroll through your area and be like, this is far away, so no, you know what I mean? So that's another way that I would get hauls. But that's all the advice that I have for trying to get good dolls. Just know your area. Be knowledgeable of dolls, because yeah, maybe you won't get a doll complete, but eventually you will, you know what I mean? Like, you'll be able to complete the outfit. Anyways, I don't have any other advice, but that's just how I thrift and my thoughts. Anyways, I'm Mike. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Let me know your thoughts in the video. Yeah, bye.